Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's sketchbook story time, as odd of a story as this might be a topic of, is my favorite toy when I was a little kid. So when I was little, it was my Tonka truck, because me and Ivy and Nigma and Crow could all sit on it at the same time and scoot around the house and this thing wouldn't break. But after that, it was this little tiger Beanie Baby, and I'm going to tell you guys the sweet story of how I ended up with it. And this is not normal for me to actually draw a picture based on whatever my story is about. So if you guys want to see more of that, let me know. But I was thinking earlier today, missing my dad, and thinking about the very few times in my childhood that we had nice experiences together, because there weren't a lot of them. But I thought about one of them, which is how I ended up with what was to be my favorite childhood toy. Alright, so this is the story. Me and my dad did not have a lot of great experiences together as kids. When I was a kid, not when he was a kid, obviously, because I wasn't allowed a whole lot of one-on-one time with him. Prior to him marrying Vanessa, my wicked stepmother, I just didn't see him that much because I lived with my mom. And then after Vanessa got him to get custody of me, I wasn't given a lot of time to spend with him, so we never developed a great relationship. And growing up and having her be evil and having him not stick up for me definitely damaged that. But I do remember one time that we had alone together that was just a really great, happy experience that I can look back on and smile and feel warm in my heart. So I was pretty young. I want to say I was probably 6 or 7, maybe, and my dad took me to this carnival. I don't remember if it was like a moving fair, maybe it wasn't the Great Escape, I remember that, but it was a smaller fair. And we went on a couple of rides together and ate greasy junk food and cotton candy, because, what else does a 6-year-old want to do? We played a bunch of games, and that was fun. But I distinctly remember 2 different things that he ended up getting for me on our trip, which was a big deal for me because my dad didn't really buy me stuff. That wasn't how our relationship worked. So I ended up holding this thing super close to my heart, not just because I was a little kid who was obsessed with tigers. I mean, big cats were my jam when I was a little kid. I loved all of them. Lions, tigers, cougars, panthers, leopards, cheetahs, all the big cats. I adored them so much. So, aside from the fact that what I ended up getting was something that I was really interested in, it was also something that was a memory of a time where me and my dad didn't fight at all, and we were just happy together. So the first thing that he ended up getting me was this pretty big cut geode disc rock. It was bright blue, and it was darker on the outside, and then it had light and dark blue rings in the middle, and it was shiny and sparkly and very pretty, and it sat displayed on my dresser for years to come. The second thing that he got me was this tiny Beanie Baby tiger, which I just had instantly fell in love with, and he wasn't originally going to get it for me, but as a kid who didn't ask for a lot, I'm like, Dad, can I please have this Beanie Baby? I will do so many, all of the chores to, get the money for it, but can I please have this Beanie Baby? And he ended up relenting and got me this teeny tiny tiger Beanie Baby that I loved with all of my heart. And I remember walking through this carnival with this little Beanie Baby that I just couldn't stop oohing and awing and gaping over because I was so in love with it. And I'm like, Dad, what do you think I should call it? This tiger needs the coolest name. ever. Like, it just needs the coolest tiger name. Dad, you're older than me. You know more stuff. What should I name this super cool tiger? I need it to have a totally kick-butt, awesome tiger name. And he goes, oh, I've got the perfect one. And I'm like, okay. What is it? And he goes, El Tigre. And, okay, I did not speak Spanish when I was 6 or 7 years old. So, to me, it was just an amazing sounding, kick-ass tiger name. El Tigre. And he said it like that, too, with this, like, gruff, cool, rolly voice. And I'm just like, oh my god, Dad, that's perfect. Yes, I am gonna name my little stuffed beanie baby El Tigre. And I did. So, obviously, as I got a little bit older, I'm like, Dad, that literally just means the tiger in Spanish. That is not cool. And he's like, you loved it. So what? So, yeah, I ended up getting pretty salty when I was a little older after I realized that my dad's totally kick-ass tiger name actually was just the tiger in Spanish, which was a little embarrassing because I carried this thing around into my teenage years because I loved it so much. And I would talk about it. No wonder I had no friends, right? And when I was little, I would like write his name on stuff because I would write little stories about my stuffed Beanie Baby tiger, and I would write the letter L, and then a dash, and then a capital T, and then gray, the color. So that was how I spelled his name. And yeah, and I had him all the way up until I was 13, and I remember the exact instance when I decided to give him up. So I should say teenage year, not teenage years, because I did end up giving him away when I was 13. So I was in an art class in 8th grade, and our art teacher said to bring stuff in from home to draw as a still life. So this little Beanie Baby being one of my most prized possessions, I brought that in, and it was part of my still life project. And I remember being, like, really proud of myself for how this turned out. Like, I used the color purple for shading and was just super impressed with myself. I wish I still had that piece so I could look back and be like, wow, I sucked way worse than I thought I did. And at the end of the project, you know, at this point, I was already going through a lot at home. Like, my relationship with my dad was utterly trashed, and I was already had a whole bunch of mental health issues. And by the end of the project, after putting so much thought into this piece, because I had to look at it every day and draw it, by the end of the project, I told my art teacher, I'm like, look, in case some other kid comes in and doesn't have anything that they can bring from home to draw, why don't you keep this? And by this time, I'd had it so many years that it was pretty tattered. There were no rips, but you could tell that it was extremely well loved. I mean, it was no longer sleek and shiny and new. It was very obviously something that had been carried around by a kid for God knows how many years. It was obviously, like, very old. And I'm like, I don't want it anymore. So, keep it for other kids to draw, or give it to another kid who maybe needs it. And I really vaguely just told her, it used to be really important to me, but I don't think that I need it anymore. And she seemed flattered and confused and probably, like, just sorry for me, because that was the general look on the face of adults who had to deal with me when I was a younger person. And she took it, and I never saw El Tigre again. Part of me, obviously, now that my dad's gone, I wish I had kept it. And then another part of me knows that even if I had kept it, it wouldn't still be with me today, because the number of times that I had to throw the very little that I owned into a backpack and move in, a very short period of time, it wouldn't have made it through that process. But I still sometimes now as an adult think back to this little Beanie Baby that was the only shred of evidence that I had to comfort myself and tell myself when I needed to know that my dad did care about me at one point. and we did have some good times, even if there weren't a whole lot of them, that this was a thing that I had. That was memorabilia of a better time, even if that better time was only 4 or 5 hours out of one day in a childhood that was less than pleasant with a relationship that wasn't great. But that meant the world to me to have, and it made me happy for a long time, and I wish I still had that thing. So yeah, and I did add another drawing into this video just because I wanted to add this in, but I didn't want to give it its own video because it was pretty simple. So this was one of my more popular traditional merch pieces that I did digitally to make it look more clean. So that is in the Threadless merch shop if you guys want to help out. Hours have been cut back, so any of you who can afford merch who want to buy some, you're more than welcome to. So yeah, and this is just my little gothy design that I enjoy. If you guys want to see anything specific in the merch shop, definitely let me know, because I am open to suggestions and will put up whatever you guys want to see. So yeah. Thank you all for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you know where to put them. Please check out these awesome artists who made this adorable fan art for the channel. Thank you guys so much. It means so much to me when you guys make stuff in appreciation of the channel. It touches my heart. So definitely go check out these awesome artists and their awesome work. Thank you guys again so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.